Hello, everyone. This is Kripa Anand, and welcome to the Canadian SME Small Business Podcast. Today, we are looking at the growing power of digital incentives. In 2026, building a growth oriented culture isn't just about the work that you do, it's about how you appreciate your team and retain your customers in an increasingly instant global economy. Joining us today is Leif Baradoy, the founder and CEO of Giftbit. Over the last decade, Leif has navigated the full entrepreneurial journey from a small startup to a venture backed digital rewards platform that helps organizations send incentives everywhere instantly. He is a leader dedicated to business innovation, a culture of feedback, and helping Canadian companies achieve default global status. So, before further ado, let's welcome this very special guest. Leif, welcome to the podcast. Such a pleasure to have you with us.
Thanks so much, Kripa. Appreciate it.
Now, Leif, Giftbit has evolved into a powerhouse for digital incentives. But at the heart of it, you're dealing with the psychology of appreciation. So let's start by understanding why are digital gift cards such effective incentives in today's time? Go ahead.
Um, it always surprises me that the brand power of digital gift cards and digital prepaid cards is quite attractive to people. It's very easy for us to, if we get paid, via bank transfer for certain things, it just sort of goes into our general accounts and gets
Mm-hmm.
lost with our family and our regular life. But there's a really powerful psychological combination with branded gift cards and the experience people anticipate themselves having with that branded gift card, whether they're buying something special for themselves, something unique that they're saving up for, something maybe outside of their regular family budgets.
Mm-hmm.
So, digital gift cards and digital prepaid cards are just very powerful incentives for people. And even though I've been running this business for 10 years, I'm still struck and surprised by just how attractive they are for people and just how
Yeah.
compelling those brands are.
So definitely, who wouldn't love to get a digital business card by their company, right, and be appreciated? So it's a great idea. It's a very smart idea, and it's a very strategic idea. And I'm so glad that you saw this gap and you pounced on this. So that's amazing. And providing that instant feel good moment through a digital gift card creates a much stronger emotional connection to the brand that a traditional bonus ever could. So that's great. Now, Leaf, let's look at how this connects with real time data. How are Canadian businesses using digital rewards as a growth lever? Go ahead.
So Canadian businesses are primarily using digital gift cards and digital prepaid cards as a growth lever. Through referral programs,
Mm-hmm.
customer acknowledgement. There's many other use cases for Giftbit, but I actually see that there's every business is trying to grow sustainably.
Yeah.
At this point in time, flat is dying. So whether there's formal referral programs or sort of like surprise and delight informal referral programs, we work with companies that are using digital gift cards as part of a referral program as their primary growth lever in the B2B space. So they use Giftbit to pay out their referees and their referrers.
Mm-hmm.
And that just cuts through the noise. It allows them to find their best, happiest customers and reward them for getting new customers. Obviously, there has to be great service as part
Yeah.
of the thing being referred. But when you have happy customers who want to talk about you, who might already naturally be talking about you, one of the things I love to see is those sort of more surprise and delight referral programs, because that
Mm-hmm.
just creates just really breaks out of people's expectations of working with a company. And of
Mm-hmm.
course, tracking the ROI, you're able to see the impact of these payouts within referral programs. So I'd say referrals is actually one of the biggest drivers of growth that we're seeing for rewards and incentives.
Wow. And that's a very smart shift indeed. When used right, digital rewards move beyond simple incentives and start shaping customer behavior, loyalty, and, repeat engagement in a very measurable way. So that's great point there. On that note, let's also talk about building at, digital first global rewards platform. So, I'd love for you to, take this opportunity and educate our listeners on what are the benefits of a digital first global reward strategy.
So depending on the nature of the Canadian business,
Mm-hmm.
so many Canadian businesses are default global faster, right? So we're all looking for customers, not just with our largest trading partner in the United States, but anywhere we can across the globe. So
Mm-hmm.
as business owners, we don't want to be constantly adopting new tools. We want one tool that does the job, does our jobs with excellence. So if you're doing things like market research surveys, user surveys, customer surveys, rewards and incentives play in. Again, referrals play in. For businesses that know they're expanding globally or hope to expand globally, partnering with a company like Giftbit that's already in, we do payouts in 170 countries, operate in 40 different currencies. We
Mm-hmm.
know that our customers know that when they use us, wherever they're going to grow, Giftbit's going to be there to support them. So they don't have to worry about, choosing a different tool when this is
Yeah.
probably not the main thing of their business. This is one of many tools within their business to sustain their growth.
Mm-hmm. No, makes a lot of sense. And on you what you said, building on that, here's a special message to all of our listeners, specifically to all the business owners watching. In 2026, your incentives shouldn't be a logistical nightmare. If you are still mailing physical cards or dealing with complex redemption issues, you are losing time and money. GiftBit's 2026 trend report shows that full choice is now the gold standard. Recipients want the freedom to pick their own rewards. With their new eco conscious category, Dots.eco, you can even align your incentives with your sustainability values. Whether you're rewarding 10 employees or 10,000 customers, stop managing the logistics and start managing the impact. Head to giftbit.com and see how a digital first strategy can give you back hours of your work week. Coming back to you, Leif, automating global reach through an API ensures that your rewards land instantly, regardless of where your team or customers are located in the world. So that's amazing. Now, let's explore improving clarity and tracking in incentive programs as well, because as the employer, that is a big concern. So, go ahead and share, how do tracking and reporting improve the incentive ROI?
Well, of course, incentives have to work with the math of business outcomes.
Mm-hmm.
Incentives are a cost, and every business owner needs to understand, audit, and review their costs. That's just a basic. So there's no one incentive model to apply. Incentives are so specific to your customer segment, where you're expanding, how you're messaging, what your product offering is, that you do need to try things. And so to find that good ROI, change your plan, maybe even kill your whole program, or grow it exponentially because it's working, as we've seen with many of our customers.
Mm-hmm.
So, tracking and reporting is the sort of data that is really just a basic. And, with businesses that are looking for efficiency, but also running growth experiments, they just need to have really great tracking and reporting. One of the interesting things that's emerging, we're all very busy. And so incentives are usually part of a larger marketing chain. But
Mm-hmm.
now with Giftbit, you can download our reports, also download your reports from your marketing tools, and just load them into AI to do, and then question with natural language to really get a full picture of ROI. So we're in a very exciting time to see the ROI of these things. So using
Mm-hmm.
tools that play well together, that can be easily understood and work with AI is something quite
Mm-hmm.
important for our customers.
Definitely. Transparency in reporting turns an expense into a data driven strategy where you can measure exactly how much value each dollar is generating. That's amazing. I also mentioned in the beginning of our conversation that you value the culture of feedback a lot in your system, right? So, building on that, how do you inculcate that in your actual work system at GiftBit?
So a culture of feedback in a company is really critical because businesses win by operating in reality, right?
Yeah.
We have to be clear-eyed about our opportunities and our risks, what we need to change, and we just need to get a sense of reality. A culture of feedback. Feedback is not just negative things; it's also positive things, allowing us to lead into strengths and opportunities. So, cultivating a culture of feedback for me, we have a phrase for at Giftbit, one of our cultural principles: lead yourself and then others. So, a culture of feedback really has to come from the leaders and then flows through the company. So for
Mhm.
myself, it's actually having a perspective to set aside my own righteousness or rightness, I should say, my excitement about certain ideas, and actually create space to converse and listen and share with my team.
Mhm.
We do have very specific habits and frameworks so that feedback, whether it's positive or negative, is not over dramatized. And that's another
Mhm.
big one, is not making feedback a big dramatic thing, but you just make it a regular habit in course of business. We just ask four simple questions. Either working on something or when completed something, like a moment of performance, you say, hey,
Mhm.
what went well? What was tricky? What would you do differently? And then, would you like my perspective on this? So this conversation to get feedback first allows the person to say what they think.
Mhm.
Oftentimes people are self-critical and smart enough that with a little bit of a container, they're able to give themselves a lot of feedback that managers or business owners might give anyway.
Mhm.
And then after you listen to them, that's when the manager or business owner can come in and say, hey, would you like my perspective? And just add like a couple little subtle nuances. Or if the person's maybe not that reflective, you can, give the key bullet points and headlines that they might have missed. But
Mhm.
creating a habit to de-dramatize feedback, whether it's strengths or weaknesses, is very important. And then living that value yourself as a leader.
Wow, that was pretty reassuring. I'm loving this conversation, Leif, and definitely I'd love for you to be back, hopefully for an in-studio episode that we do the next. But for now, before we let you go, I'd love for you to leave our listeners with one final piece of advice that, to boost their team engagement effectively. If you could whisper one thing into their ear, what would you say and why?
Uh, for business owners, I would say, lead yourself and then others. Oftentimes, I think lack of team engagement can be a finger that business owners and managers point at other people.
Yeah.
And I think really getting a sense of how engaged are you? How are you facilitating engagement and removing frictions to increase connection and camaraderie is probably the best starting place.
Mm-hmm.
Create a culture of safety so people can speak freely, collaborate, have fun. That's where I think you create a more engaged workplace, not just around the project of whatever work you're doing, but also making that human connection. So uh, I think a lot of it comes down to some emotional intelligence around team
Mm-hmm.
engagement. And then from there, you can begin putting in structures and adopting tool sets, of which there are very many out there.
Very well put. That is a great reminder that the best incentives are the ones that are simple, personal, and delivered right when they matter the most. Leif, it was such a pleasure having you on the show. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you so much for having me. Appreciate it.
All right, that was Leif Baradoy from Giftbit, a masterclass in how to use digital incentives to drive business goals, build a global brand, and maintain a feedback driven culture. To all the listeners, thank you so much for tuning in to the Canadian SME Small Business Podcast. Be sure to subscribe and visit CanadianSME.ca for more such resources. To learn more about how we are supporting the ecosystem, please visit the Canadian SME Small Business Foundation at smbfoundation.ca. And lastly, a very special thank you to our partners, UPS and ADP, our HR partner, for their ongoing commitment to empowering SMBs across Canada. I'll see you all in the next episode. Kripa Anand signing off.